Out here in the wild, where the heart beats free, we're crafting our dreams, just my family and me. From sunrise to sundown, we're making our way, building our legacy, day by day. Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast, where passion meets purpose, homeschooling, home state, and living dreams that serve us. Together we're stronger through every stormy weather. The Wildheart legacy bound forever.
Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast. I'm Tony, and this is
Aaron. Just trying to make sure that my phone doesn't have to tell me that it's bedtime.
It's late, so we're going to do a quick rapid fire episode podcast here tonight. Probably going to be switching up a few things in the upcoming months just to just see what we could do to make this work for our busy lives. Large changes coming up for me specifically.
Yeah.
What have you been doing for the last few weeks?
I don't know. I don't know what I've been doing. Homeschooling. It's kind of the default answer.
Homeschooling, and I'm preparing to go back to regular school.
Well, it's not regular school. You're going to post-secondary.
Yeah. So that is going to be my life for the next 3 months, much to everybody's chagrin. But let's just get right into the questions. How about that?
Okay.
All right. First question. What's the funniest thing that's happened during homeschool recently? Can you think of anything?
It's not particularly like, ha 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 ha, that's so funny, but it's like one of those moments where you're like, ee, cute. So today we were at a corn maze for our like Halloween get together.
Homeschool Halloween. I feel like there should be another H. But go on. Homeschool Halloween gathering.
Yes. Anyways, and our daughter and her friends were running through the corn maze, and they were just having a great time, and it was just really adorable.
The video you were showing me?
Yeah, it's just pretty funny.
We had a Halloween party last week. Last week? This week?
Last week.
And we had a pile of kids over here. And
a gaggle.
Exactly, one gaggle of kids. And yeah, just like because we had set up a lot of different activities for them. I guess we could kind of go into it, but essentially, like, we'd set up like a spider web just over here with like yarn. We had set up a shooting range out in the back, where just basically did a whole bunch of ghost cutouts and put them up on boards and set up a Nerf gun to get the kids interested, and that way they could shoot at the Ghostbusters essentially. We had thought of putting a speaker out there with a Ghostbusters theme on loop, but that didn't end up happening. We ran out of time for a few of our ideas, but
because someone planned it on a homeschooling day.
Well, there was a lot of reasons for it. Oh, they were just closing the door there.
Yeah.
What else? We had we also had planned for like a texture experience where like you would put a focus. You'd put like a box over a bowl, and like we had like noodles, peeled grapes.
I spent so much time peeling those grapes.
I know, I'm sorry. But the noodles were like zombie brains. The peeled grapes were like eyeballs.
I had rubber gloves that were cut up that were supposed to be bat wings.
And so like the idea is that the kids don't see what's in the bowl, and then they like feel around in there, and they're like, this is a thing that's Halloween-y. And then what else did you do? We made our own slime. That was really cool.
Play-Doh. It was Play-Doh.
But whatever. It was a slime. We called it a slime creation. It was a fun activity.
Yes.
You have a recipe for that. You should share it.
I do.
Maybe, do you want to do it now or on a separate post?
I don't quite remember it off the top
Okay.
of my head. That was like a week ago.
On a separate post, we shall share it. Or
There
let
is-
us know in the comments if you want it.
There was flour and salt and cream of tartar and water and no salt. I think it was flour. I don't know.
Sugar. I remember
it wasn't
sugar being
sugar.
on the counter.
I don't think it was sugar. I think it was salt.
Either way.
Yeah, flour, salt, cream of tartar, and water and oil.
Quantities to come.
Yes. I think it was
Any
like
other activities we did?
I had like
Oh yeah, the bouncy castle.
I
We
was
had a
like,
bouncy
what?
castle. Well, you're in the tartar area.
Yeah.
Um,
I was making food most of the time,
yeah.
so
And yeah, that was our Halloween party, and there was a lot of fun and funny things. So I mean, if they're on to the next question, what was one activity you loved doing with the kids this month? For me, the Halloween party was definitely one of them.
yeah, I really enjoyed. I don't know, it's tough because we do quite a bit of different things. I think one of the newest thing that I started doing with our daughter is those morning basket things. I kind of just
Explain what those are, maybe.
So the morning basket is a concept of like you have like an actual literal basket of activities that can, that you've used to do whatever purpose you want, right? So some people use it in the morning so that they have like their child has a little bit of independent playtime that's somewhat educational or has some education-based things to it, so that they can, take a breather, get set up for the morning, maybe have a shower, whatever, drink their coffee, whatever it is.
All the things that you need.
Yes. I just see it as a really cool way of formatting my day. Setting up my routine. Yes.
Structuring your day.
Formatting my day.
Delete.
Yeah, structuring my day so that I have like a nice rhythm to it, or a nice routine. So, I would be setting up a couple of different activities that, our daughter can do in the morning when she wakes up. And the expectation would be that whatever she doesn't get done in the morning, she can choose when to do it. So it's
giving her the power, essentially.
Yeah, so if
or
she
the
wants to
control.
do it in the morning, she can. But if she hasn't done it when our little guy goes down for a nap, then the expectation will be that she focuses on doing those activities, which I will get to a point where they're more like, they're more independent based. And then she can do her thing while I have a little bit of time to either do homeschool planning or doing my own studies or whatever, right? So it it's not so much pressure on me to just now take over the role of, being the playmate at that point, right?
I mean, as our little guy gets older, he'll become more of the playmate as well there too, right? So
He is in the morning. She can do very well in the morning. It's just, it's a little bit tougher when he goes down for a nap.
Yeah, it's still, it's more of just structuring the day and having expectations set.
Yeah, so I really enjoyed doing that, and like the neat thing was I was expecting her to really do like 5 activities, but we sat down and I think we did like 20. Not 20, but like 10.
She was really yearning for them.
She really liked them, and she kind of went through them really quickly, so I might have to like scale up a few of them. But she quite enjoyed them. And then I can kind of do a different theme each day. So like, say one day we do more math themed things, the next day maybe I do more like language arts or whatever, and I'm focusing on like CVC words, so consonant, vowel, consonant, and kind of making some of that kind of the theme.
I would say, so the next question I have in the rapid fire question and answer period that we're kind of doing here. What would you say is the most fulfilling activity so far? In the fall. Let's keep it to the fall.
feel like I'm kind of biased, but our little corn maze excursion today was pretty fun. Our daughter, like, this doesn't sound like an awful mother moment, but she was right in with her friends, off playing. She'd come back every now and again to like check in and make sure I was still good, or that I was still there, but she was off playing most of the day. And there were a couple times where she, like, I said to her before we were leaving that I'm like, okay, we gotta go and pick a pumpkin so that we can buy it and take it home to carve. And she's like, okay, and she just like takes off with one of her little friends, her new friend that she met today. And the mom and I were just standing there like, okay, cool. We just kind of chatted for a little bit more, and then we continued on to find them. Like, we had the whole farm to ourselves, so I wasn't too worried about it. But and there was enough parents there that kind of knew us that if they were going to get into trouble, they would, someone would notice them. But yeah, it was really nice for her to be like, she's starting to really come out of her shell, and I find that really, like, really wonderful.
It's always, I knew it would happen. It was just a matter of time, right? For me, I think the most fulfilling was this fall has been going out hunting with the kids, both of them. I've been predominantly doing it on times when you're working and I'm off. So I kind of I took it as a challenge upon myself this fall to be like, I'm gonna do hunting with both of them no matter what. Because that way historically it's been like you stay behind with the kids or I take one of them, and I just kind of want to make it more of a family thing where the kids are there and they're experiencing it. The challenge in that is hunting is not a very high instant gratification activity. So kids tend to be a little bit more, they don't get the hits that, driving in the car for long periods of time or walking in the woods has its own distractions, but it's not like this, that, just keeping them engaged constantly. And one of the things I've found that helped with that is geocaching. Just kind of getting them involved in just the navigation. Like, there's an app for it, like, hey, where's the next geocache? Let's head there. And just integrating more the learnings when you're out and about. And even I've even leaned on the crutch of iPad. And just to clarify, when we're using iPads in this house, we're not like, hey, here's YouTube and have at it. What's the apps that we use?
We have
Khan Academy.
Yeah,
Pock
Khan
Pock.
Academy and Pock Pock are the predominant ones. She also has like the Disney coloring one, and then
She could do the coloring for hours.
she can.
So it's really like trying to keep everybody engaged and happy, and I've started incorporating snacks into our driving time. Like if we're going from spot to spot while hunting, here's some snacks. Make sure everybody's good. Try to keep them healthy, and then we've always lately we've been kind of stopping in, having lunch together, and I've been finding it a really fulfilling activity for us.
Yeah. One thing I really like about the Khan Academy kids is that our daughter really likes the stories. Like, there's little stories, and they'll read the stories to you. She can listen to those for hours too. Like, she really likes her audiobooks.
She's kind of like Papa that way.
Well, I mean, I'm sure if I was exposed to audiobooks when I was younger, I would have liked them too, but, they weren't exactly as prevalent while growing up. So I was just, once I learned how to read, I just was reading the books. I'm sure when she gets to the point where she can read the books too, she'll probably do that.
Oh, yeah. We'll very much be encouraging it, in fact.
Yeah. I'll get her her own little Kobo. She can have my old one, and then I'll get the color one.
Sure. If you need an excuse to get another Kobo.
Yes.
What are you looking for? What are you looking forward to this as the seasons change?
I am actually really looking forward to our little guy being more sentient during the winter.
I guess.
Well, like, because I remember when our daughter was like, 18 months to 2 years in the snow. Well, I mean, it wouldn't exactly been that time, but like, I remember when she was able to walk around, the first time she was able to walk around in snow, it was such a little experience for her. And I really enjoyed, that. So I can't wait for the snow to come so that he can
fall face first
experience
into it.
Well, no.
We need to move all the planters from around the deck, I think. I just remembered I was going to mention it because there's going to be snow forts built. And I don't think you want them on your planters.
No. But I don't know where to put them.
On the side of the house. They're out of the way. It'll be fine. We'll talk about it later. For me,
like that idea.
then you will find a place. For me, I think one of the things I'm looking forward to most is snowboarding, because you know our daughter's getting to the age where she's developing the confidence still in snowboarding, but not at a point where she's independently snowboarding yet. A lot of the times I'm still the chairlift. I think I want to try that like drill trick, that where you so you get a stick with a rope, and basically you're just using it as a tow rope to and fro. But she'll have to be able to balance on the board for that to work. So that could even be fun, just even in a field. But anyway,
you can use your winch.
The winch should be, that's a little bit too strong. Plus, I would have to get the truck up to the top of the hill.
I don't know, if you're just in a field.
Or, yeah, I guess. Anyway.
Just tow her slowly behind the truck.
There you go. Yeah, that's what I think I'm looking forward to most. Do you want to do the next one?
Where are we at? Because everything's highlighted. All right. What is one thing that I learned from homeschooling this week? I wouldn't say that I learned this specifically this week, but one thing that was reaffirmed to me is how important community is to homeschooling. You can homeschool, certainly, without a community. You don't need a homeschool co-op. You don't need, any other family or families or friends homeschooling with you. But it makes it a hell of a lot easier if you have a community around you. Like, we met a couple today. Their daughter is actually our daughter's new favorite friend. Mm-hmm. And they were saying how, like, one of their biggest struggles is, finding a community to kind of fit into. Mm-hmm. They've done a couple of the MASH stuff. So MASH standing for Manitoba Association of Schooling at Home. But it's a very large group, and like they've had not like it's no shame to anyone, but it's just like their interests are not in line with each other, right? Like apparently a lot of the MASH kids are very obsessed with Pokemon.
There's nothing wrong with Pokemon.
Nothing wrong with that. But they tend to be a little bit more technology based and like in the way of like screen time. And so a lot of us that are in our group are not as heavy in the screen time.
We're probably like the heaviest on the screen times of our group. No.
I think most of us are kind of around the same.
Oh, okay. Either way, I probably gravitate towards screen time because I'm the techie guy, but
well, it depends on what you're using screen time for.
Nonetheless.
There are parents out there who will literally sit your child in front of the TV for 8 hours.
When we were at the restaurant for our anniversary, we saw that. I remember. And there was like literally kids, like every kid had their own iPad, and they were just watching stuff. And like our kid had like a little bubble popper thing. Yeah. And it was just the night and day contrast. It was so interesting to see. And like, there was a point, our son was just like, essentially getting distracted by the other kids' screens, and so I just kind of shifted him, and then it kind of fixed the problem. But it was it was interesting just to see like he's able to fully engage with the little bubble popper, but there's kids like screens are alluring, right?
Well, and
we all know this.
Yeah, like and like no shame, like however you want to parent is however you want to parent, but I would much rather have my kids be doing other activities than sitting in front of a screen.
Yep.
But yeah, so they just kind of, it reaffirmed how important having a community was, and like even just being able to talk to some of the parents that like have been in our group for a while. They're like, oh, I just really love coming out to these types of events because they're really great like community building events, and we get to kind of do more of a one-on-one conversations with the parent, or you know, the family who's come out, and you know, while the kids play, and we're not as distracted by like, oh, we need to learn something, or mom over here, and mom over here, and you're like, oh god, just trying to have a conversation. But yeah, it's really nice, and I really love the community that we're growing here. It's great.
That's awesome.
Yes.
One thing I've learned about homeschooling this week is really just the it's not a new realization, I think, but more of it's not a race, because you know, every kid is different and they're going to learn things at their own pace. And I saw my brother's kid saying, like, he's like full verbiage, and he's saying words and this. I'm like, oh, like he's only a month older than ours. No?
7 weeks.
7 weeks?
It's almost 2 months.
Oh, 2 months? Okay. So I'm like, I wonder when our son's going to be getting to that point. I was just like, oh, it's like, but at the same time, it's not a race. It's just like, I'm sure he'll get there. It's just he's very into the physical exploring the world right now. So
yeah, I think that's
okay.
That's one of the biggest things I noticed, is that, you know, their son he's very vocal. Our son is very physical. Like,
yeah, he's
our
running,
little guy,
climbing.
Yeah, he's climbing. Like, even when we were at a family gathering, our little guy was climbing up the stairs, and the other dude was just like, oh, and then started to follow behind him. You know?
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yep. And you know what? They're boys. They're gonna run around.
Yeah, and like our little guy understands quite a bit. Like if I say, "Hey, we're gonna go," he will go and get his shoes and a jacket.
Yeah, he was putting away the cutlery today.
Yep.
Like he might not have put it in the right spot, but I was just kind of showing him all the stuff out of the dishwasher. He was grabbing the fork, and I'm like, here, and he put it down.
One of my favorite things. Just a random side tangent. So when I feed him, I'm sitting on the floor because he's a squirmy little dude. And I have my phone, and I have, like, so that I can kind of see the time, just to kind of have an idea of how long he's feeding for. So I put my phone, and then usually in the night, to help me find the Soothie, I put it on my phone. Well, he started to think that that's how we do it. So he's like putting the Soothie on the phone. And then we'll lean back and like start feeding, and I'm like, that is so funny. But he won't feed unless that Soothie is on the phone.
Well, he's even started, like, we have a gate for our stairs downstairs. They're like, oh, we forgot to close the gate, and he'll be like at the gate, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I got this.
Yeah.
And he'll close the gate.
Instead of him going down the stairs, he'll like close the gate.
On a side note, like, I feel that's a metaphor for like something like you put your own gates up and stuff there, but I can't place it right now.
Puts his own barriers in front of himself.
We teach them the barriers that they're putting up, in a sense, and like that's the physical manifestation of the barrier, but psychology. Anyway,
to be fair, I think he's at a point now where, like, unless someone is downstairs, he doesn't want to go downstairs.
Yeah. In fact, he was crying because he wanted to be downstairs, I think, today.
Yes, he does.
Much to his detriment, as he ended up injuring himself somehow.
Cut his toe somehow.
Yeah.
Don't know.
He seemed fine until we tried to bandage it.
Well, it was when I realized that he was bleeding, and I held him down, but like, held him to try and figure out what was going on with the blood, where the blood was coming from. That was when he didn't like it. He was totally fine. He's like, I can bleed all over the basement.
He was tracking it all over the basement, just until he realized.
Until I realized, and then I was like, whoa, sit down. I need your foot. And then he was like,
you made me stop.
Yeah, he doesn't like to be held down when he's like on a mission. He was on a mission.
Anyway, I'm not going to touch that one. What is a thing that happened recently that surprised or inspired you? I would say for our daughter, she has a little camera. Like she's getting kind of sneaky with her recordings, and so like if you're like, I've had times where I'm like either listening to something and I'd be like, oh, this is probably not age appropriate or something, and I'll like switch to something else, and then I'll hear it again, and she's like, he, I was recording you, and then my sister was watching her, and she was like, I guess lecturing her son, and she did the same thing, and she's like, oh, maybe I didn't realize.
She's funny like that. Oh, I don't know what surprised or inspired me recently.
Geocaching has also been very inspiring for me.
Yes, it's been inspiring for you.
Inspired.
I don't know. Surprising or inspiring? I think I just
Easy.
I think I just really enjoy like watching our daughter come out of her shell a little bit more, and like when she ran up to me today and she's like, "Mama, mama, mama," and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "I made a new friend." And I'm like, "Awesome. What's her name? Like, what's your new friend's name?" She's like, "I don't know." And I'm like, "Okay, well, does she know your name?" She's like, "Nope." I'm like, "Awesome. You made a great friend. Do you know what she looks like?" "Yes." She's like points. She's like, "She's the pink one, or the one in the pink with the hat." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. I know exactly which child that is." But it was just one of those things where she comes over and she's like, "I don't know her name, but I'm friends with her now." I'm like, "Perfect."
We should start integrating the introductions into meeting people.
Hey, the fact that she independently started talking to this child was awesome.
Yeah, that's. I think that's all a win.
Yeah, and it's just a random aside, but it sounds like from the parents that their child is a little bit not shy. I don't like the word shy.
Introverted.
Yes, introvert. She tends to be a little introverted
I
too.
feel like she's internalizing the shyness right now.
Yes, I'm trying very hard not to say shy.
And yeah, I am as well. And I've also reaffirmed that, introverted might be a better verbiage, but we could look into that.
Yeah. She takes time to warm up to people.
That's another really good way of saying it.
Yeah.
I've said that before.
But yeah, like, so both of them kind of take time to warm up, but they were like instant buddies, and it was like, love it.
So yeah, I think the homeschooling journey has been good this fall.
Yep.
We talked about funny things that have happened, and little things that we have loved doing with the kids this month. If you have anything that you've been doing with your homeschool kids, or kids maybe with the hope of homeschooling, let us know. We're actually live right now. If you have any comments, we could read them out too. But we'll wait a minute for those to come in if they are there. We have a couple people watching.
Woo.
And we do this every 2 weeks.
Yes.
So if you want to tune in, feel free to stop by.
Stop by. Like, just
tune
come
your
to the
radio.
house.
Tune your radio to
make house calls, please. No.
89.2 FM.
89.2?
It's not even a frequency.
Okay, sir. Yeah, we'll have to figure out what our schedule's like in the next few months.
I think, every 2 weeks we'll see how it goes. The shorter episodes. This is a semi-short episode.
I told you, we're never short.
But usually they are a little bit longer, anywhere from 30 to an hour. But where can people find you?
But he goes at Wildheart Motherhood on Instagrams.
And Wildheart Legacy for me.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. As my voice cracks.
Well, I mean, technically they'll see us. We don't see them.
where the heart beats free. We're crafting our dreams, just my family and me. From sunrise to sundown, we're making our way, building our legacy day by day. Welcome to the Wildheart Podcast, where passion meets purpose, homeschooling, homesteading, living dreams that serve us. Together we're stronger through every stormy weather. The Wildheart legacy bound forever. With hands in the soil and love in the air, we're teaching our young ones how to live and care in this simple life where the lessons are real. We're writing our story with every turn of the wheel. So join us on this journey where the wild hearts roll. In the Wildheart legacy, you'll always feel at home.